time I do, it makes me laugh. How did our eyes get so red? And what the hell is on Joey's head? This is where I grew up. I think the president fixed it up. I never knew we ever went without. The second floor is hot for sneaking up. And this is where I went to school. Most of the time had better things to do. Criminal record says I've broken twice. I must have done it half a dozen times. I wonder if it's too late. Should I go back and try to graduate? Life's better now than it was back then. If I was them, I wouldn't let me in. Oh God, every memory of looking out the back door. I have a photo album spread out on my bedroom floor. It's hard to say it, time to say it. Goodbye, goodbye. Every memory of walking out the front door. I found the photo of the friend that I was looking for. It's hard to say it, time to say it. Goodbye, goodbye. Remember the old arcade? Blew every dollar that we ever made. The cops seen us hanging out. They say somebody went and burned it down. We used to listen to the radio and sing along with every song we know. We said someday we'd find out how it feels to sing to more than just a steering wheel. Kim's the first girl I kissed. I was so nervous that I nearly missed. She's had a couple of kids since then. I haven't seen her since God knows when. Oh God, every memory of looking out the back door. I have a photo album spread out on my bedroom floor. It's hard to say it, time to say it. Goodbye, goodbye. Every memory of walking out found the photo of the friend that I was looking for. It's hard to say it, time to say it. Goodbye, goodbye. I miss that town. I miss the one thing that would never change. Every memory of looking out the back door. I have a photo album spread out on my bedroom floor. It's hard to say it, time to say it. Goodbye, goodbye. Every memory of walking out the front door. I found the photo of the friend that I was looking for. It's hard to say it, time to say it. Goodbye, goodbye. Look at this photograph. Every time I do, it makes me laugh. Every time I do, it makes me. I'm through with standing in line. The clubs I'll never get in. It's like the bottom of the ninth, and I'm never gonna win this. Life hasn't turned out quite the way I want it to be. I want a brand new house on an episode of Cribs, and a bathroom I can play baseball in, and a king-size tub big enough for 10 plus me.
For what you need.
I'll need a credit card that's got no limit, and a big black jet with a bedroom in it. Gonna join the Mile High Club at 37,000 feet.
Been done.
I want a new tour bus full of old guitars. Mine star on Hollywood Boulevard. Somewhere between Cher and James Dean is fine for me.
So how you gonna do it?
I'm gonna trade this life for fortune and fame. I'd even cut my hair and change my name. Cause we all just wanna be big rock stars and live in hilltop houses, driving 15 cars. The girls come easy and the drugs come cheap. Well, I'll stay skinny gold digger's gonna wind up there. Every playboy bunny with a bleached blonde hair. And well, hey, hey, I wanna be a rock star. Hey, hey, I wanna be a rock star. I wanna be great like Elvis without the tassels. Hire 8 bodyguards that love to beat up assholes. Sign a couple autographs so I can eat my meals for free.
I have the quesadilla.
I'm gonna dress my ass with the latest fashion. Get a front door key to the Playboy mansion. Gonna date a Santa phone that loves to blow my money for me.
So how you gonna do it?
I'm gonna trade this life for fortune and fame. I'd even cut my hair and change my name. Cause we all just wanna be big rock stars and live in hilltop bosses driving 15 cars. The girls come easy and the drugs come cheap. Well, I'll stay skinny cause we just won't eat. And we'll hang out in the coolest bars and the VIP with the movie stars. Every good gold digger's gonna wind up there. Every playboy bunny with a bleached blonde hair. And we'll hide out in the private rooms with the latest dictionary of today's zoo. They'll get you anything with that evil smile. Everybody's got a drug dealer on speed dial. Well, hey, hey, I wanna be a rock star. I'm gonna sing those songs that offend the senses. Gonna pop my pills from a Pez dispenser. Get washed up singers writing all my songs. Lip sync them every night so I don't get them wrong. Well, we all just wanna be big rock stars and live in hilltop houses driving 15 cars. The girls come easy and the drugs come cheap. We'll all stay skinny cause we just won't eat. And we'll hang out in the coolest bars and the VIP with the movie stars. Every good gold digger's gonna wind up there. Every playboy bunny with a bleached blonde hair. And we'll hide out in the private rooms with the latest dictionary of today's zoo. They'll get you anything with that evil smile. Everybody's got a drug dealer on speed dial. Well, hey, hey, I wanna be a rock star. Hey, hey, I wanna be a rock star. Yes, I do.
Oh, what the hell, she says I just can't win for losing. And she lays back down. Man, there's so many times I don't know what I'm doing. Like I don't know now. And by the light of the moon, she rubs her eyes. Says it's funny how the night can make you blind. I can just imagine. And I don't know what I'm supposed to do, but if she feels bad, then I do too. So I let her be. And she says, oh, I can't take no more. Her tears like diamonds on the floor. And her diamonds bring me down. Cause I can't help her now. She's down in it. She tried her best and now she can't win. It's hard to see them on the ground. Her diamonds falling down. Way down. She sits down and stares into the distance. And it takes all night. I know I could break her concentration. Oh, but it don't feel right. So by the light of the moon, she rubs her eyes, sits down on the bed and starts to cry. And there's something less about her. And I don't know what I'm supposed to do, so I sit down and I cry too. But don't let her see. Now she says, ooh, I can't take no more. Her tears like diamonds on the floor, and her diamonds bring me down, 'cause I can't help her now. She's down in it. She tried her best and now she can't win. It's hard to see them on the ground. Her diamonds falling down. She shuts out the night, tries to close her eyes. If she can find daylight, then she'll be alright. She'll be alright, just not tonight. And she says, oh, I can't take no more. Her tears like diamonds on the floor, but her diamonds bring me down, 'cause I can't help her now. She's down in it. She tried her best and now she can't win. It's hard to see them on the ground. Her diamonds falling down. I can't take no more. Diamonds on the floor. No more. Diamonds falling down. I can't take no more. Diamonds on the floor. No more. Diamonds falling down.
When I see you, I run out of words to say. I wouldn't leave you, 'cause you're that type of girl to make you stay. I see the guys trying to holler, girl, I don't wanna bother you, 'cause you're independent and you got my attention. I'll be your baby father, girl, I just wanna show you that I love what you are doing. I see you in the club, you getting down, girl. I wanna get with you, yeah. I see you in the club, you showing thugs love. I wanna get with you. You're so beautiful, so damn beautiful. Said you're so beautiful, so damn beautiful. You're so beautiful, 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 beautiful. You're so beautiful, 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 beautiful. You're so beautiful. Like the clouds, you drift me away, far away. Yeah. And like the sun, you brighten the day, you brighten the day. Yeah. I never wanna see you cry, and I never wanna tell a lie. Said I never wanna see you cry, and I never wanna tell a lie. I wanna get with you, yeah. I see you in the club, you showing thugs love. I wanna get with you. You're so beautiful, so damn beautiful. Said you're so beautiful, so damn beautiful. You're so beautiful, beautiful. You're so beautiful,
Cardinal told you, what if the sky blue or yellow? This fellow ain't that mellow if it ain't about you. Hourglass shape make the place go. Waistline makes my salute. I'm a brute. High from your high heel game. High heels push up your last name. And you're living in the fast lane, eyes like an angel. God damn. Watch my yelling, I should address. Spotless. Hotness bad to the bone, make me wanna bone. Put me in the triple X zone. Lames don't know how to talk to you, so let me walk. You hold my hand, I will spend them grands. But after you undress, not like a hooker, but more like a princess, queen, empress, president. Pull anywhere you go on earth, cause you're beautiful. Okay?
See you in the club.
Staring out into the night, trying to hide the pain. I'm going to the place where love and feeling good don't never cost a thing. And the pain you feel's a different kind of pain. I'm going home, but to the place where I belong, and where your love has always been enough for me. I'm not running from, no, I think you got me all wrong. I don't regret this life chose for me. But these places and these spaces are getting old, so I'm going home. I'm going home. The miles are getting longer, it seems. The closer I get to you, I'm not always been the best man, a friend for you, but your love remains true. And I don't know why you always seem to give me another try. So I'm going home, to the place where I belong, and where your love has always been enough for me. I'm not running from, no, I think you got me all wrong. I don't regret this life chose for me. But these places and these spaces are getting old. Be careful what you wish for, 'cause you just might get it all. You just might get it all, and then some you don't want. Be careful what you wish for, 'cause you just might get it all. You just might get it all, yeah. Oh, well, I'm going home, to the place where I belong, and where your love has always been enough for me. I've been to cities that never close down, from New York to Rio and old London town. But no matter how far or how wide I roam, I I still call Australia home. I'm always traveling, I love being free, and so I keep leaving the sun and the sea, but my heart lies waiting over the foam. I still call Australia home. All the sons and daughters spinning around the world, away from their family and friends. But as the world gets older and colder, it's good to know where your journey ends. And someday we'll all be together once more, when all of the ships come back to the shore. I realize something I've always known. I still call Australia home.
Thank you all for coming to celebrate with me the life of a great man, my husband, Ian James Reid. Please indulge me as I need to speak about this man. He hated attention and would insist that we cut it out and get this over with if he was here. He can't stop me now. I need to acknowledge the man's life once and for all. We are joined virtually by blood family in Australia, my family and Ian's, as well as extended family in the UK, the US, and the Bahamas. Ian thought of you all as family. Ian's life can be described simply as defying the odds. Born in 1956 to Jim and Marge Reid, no one would have expected an Aussie boy from the bush to spend more than 20 years in the Bahamas and work in 3 continents. He took everything that was dished out to him, and he overcame it time and time again. You never heard him complain about his lot in life, and he was never bitter. His life path was constantly being directed by life-changing, mostly medical events, if he went off course. His first job was taking him nowhere. So hey, let's give him cancer. That should shake him up and get him on the right track. It did. And when I met him, he was the oldest chef apprentice in history. In his 20s, he was told he would die from cancer and not have children. Then there was the metal plate in his neck, the knee replacement, loss of a portion of his finger, and the various stent and bypass procedures, and finally kidney issues. The kidney issues forced him to Australia so he could have the perfect passing. He fought the good fight, and he beat the odds every time. School was not his forte, but look what he achieved in his career. He was a demi-chef, I think, for all of a week before moving up to reach executive chef. And then he stepped out of the kitchen into food and beverage management. If you showed him how to do something once, like turn a mushroom, he would produce 100 perfect replicas. He had street smarts, and he genuinely loved what he was doing, and he loved the characters he met along the way. Ian's unique humor was well known. You can take the man out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the man. Wherever he went, he would create a breakfast table or call you up for a cuppa and have other managers come along for a laugh. It became his tradition. Many a meeting would conclude with everyone in fits of laughter over an Ian one-liner. He was quick-witted and could remember so much shit. His stories were always good value. Who could forget the day he put a live crab on a lead and walked into the staff cafeteria with it and tied it up to the table? Wearing shoes on the wrong feet or aprons back to front were not out of the question for Ian. He made work and the long hours fun for everyone. He could connect with anyone on a personal level, including the owner of Atlantis, Sol Kersner, whom Ian would respectfully greet with, "Hey, old man, how you doing?" Ian was a simple man who wanted to always do the best job he could, as well as support and mentor those around him. He treated each person he met with respect and saw value in everyone, no matter their position. He hated big dealers, or those who thought they were better than others. He inspired and mentored wherever he went and believed teamwork was the only way to succeed. And that meant he would pitch in and do whatever it took to get the team through the crisis. His family, his work, TV, sports of any kind, plenty of lollies and candies were his passions, and his phone. He needed nothing more to make him happy, unless there was something fried he could eat with bacon. Our girls, Alyssa and Kelsey, were Ian's pride and joy. Nothing gave him more pleasure, and he would do anything for them and our family. He took no credit in the raising of our girls, but his influence is clear. I am sure there is no one listening to this who doesn't feel they know Alyssa and Kelsey based on all Ian's stories. He hated the spotlight, and something like this event today would embarrass him like crazy. Trying to find any pictures of him is testament to his shying away from attention. I wish I had known that the years after Atlantis were his sunset years, as I may have been more inclined to let him watch TV all day. He was the most frustrating man in that he was completely lazy and disinterested in taking care of himself. You could not make him eat a bowl of oatmeal or broccoli for anything. Don't ask him about exercise. That's something people do when there's nothing on TV. Listen, Kelly and I are so proud of the tributes we have received and appreciate the outpouring of love and respect from so many of you. I know that Ian and I achieved more as a couple than we would have done individually. We love you, Ian. Thank you for being you and for all you did to take care of us and make our lives special. You'll always be with us. We wish you peace and all the lollies and TV you wish. Lots of love always. Your girls, Deb, Liz, and Kel. Your siblings, Ross, Robbie, Lindy, Adam, and Don, and your mum-in-law, Laura. Thank you. And now I'd like to have Kelsey come up.
You got this. I still don't think it's hit me, even as I'm reading this, that you're not here. I'll miss passing by your bedroom every day, not seeing you on your bed, never failing to ask how I am, picking me up at school and already being there 1 hour before because you didn't want to be late, watching Survivor with you every Wednesday, talking about who our favorite people were, getting candy, and knowing by the time I got home it was already eaten. The crazy childhood stories you would always tell my friends and I, and not having our long conversations about dinner, about anything going on in the world. You were the best dad I could have ever asked for, and I want you to be at peace, knowing there was nothing more you could have done for Lissy, Mommy, and I. You did everything right. There were so many great things you've done in your life, and your kindness and compassion towards others was incomparable. You were always there for me when I needed you most, even if you didn't understand it half the time, and deep down thought I was a little bit crazy. If you're listening, I want you to know that I'm so proud to be your daughter. My only goal is to make you proud. I'm committed to staying strong like you were throughout your entire life, work just as hard as you did, and be the daughter you would want me to be. Not a day will go by that I don't miss, love, and think of you. And as we always used to say, love you better.
I next have a short tribute from Atlantis. Ian arrived in 2000, and during this period, Ian was instrumental in the growth and expansion of the company and successfully introduced new concepts and restaurants to the resort. Unassuming as he was, little did everyone know that he was a master comedian, which quickly set the tone of accepting him as another new face to our world. He made people laugh. He would find humor in the most trivial or intense situations. There was never a time when he did not have some comical remark that would invoke spontaneous laughter and giggles. This remarkable attribute made it easy for everyone to warm up to him and embrace his leadership. Ian was an inspiring leader and held in the highest regard with all of his colleagues. We remember his honesty and compassion for his team members and his love for developing others to their fullest potential. Ian would always say the workforce is the only true measurement of any company's strength and success. We lost our iconic leader in the hospitality industry, a consummate professional, beloved friend, and dedicated family man. His love and support for his family, friends, and colleagues around the world will leave a lasting legacy. On behalf of the entire Atlantis family, our thoughts and prayers go out to his family and friends. He will be deeply missed by all of us. That was Karen Carey.
Hi, Daddy. You know how much I hate doing these sorts of things, so I hope that you appreciate it and acknowledge the fact that I'm also wearing your favorite color, one of the tops that I bought while you sat in the car and listened to the radio for, as you like to tell me, or like to tell me all the time, for over 1 hour. But you loved every minute of it because you were listening to the ABC radio, which you have always told me is your favorite. You also did get to see me with my short hair. Not a lot of people have, so surprise. I just wanted to say that you were one of the most amazing people that I knew in my life. Your courage, your strength, your stupid sense of humor, and your love will never go unappreciated. I'll never forget that I took you away from one of your most favorite and most special times of the day, which was your breakfast when I was born. Hopefully, I know I never made you one to this day, but hopefully the couple of times that we went out for brekkie made up for it, and you won't, be kicking yourself that I never did it for you. There are so many memories that I'll remember from going to the Gabba for the first time with you. Even though it wasn't the cricket, it was still so special, and especially going to the Lions game with you where we booed Collingwood together. Is something I'll never forget. Just a fun fact for anyone who doesn't know, the Lions played Dad's team, Carlton, on Saturday night before all of this happened, and he lost. So, sorry, Dad. I'll also never forget when Kelsey's best memory from going back to grade 3 was you flicking her on the arm with a wet towel. If that doesn't sum up my dad, I don't know what does. But no, thank you so much for everything. You're the best. I miss you every day, and when I looked up at the moon the other night, all I could think of was you. I hope you're enjoying all the lollies you can up there with a nice cold ginger beer, and watching down on us as we try to maneuver this new time in our life. I love you always, Dad. I'll see you somewhere soon.
So I went and I had dinner with this gentleman, and believe it or not, the gentleman happened to be Ian J. Reid, as we call him, or the Reidster, Mr. Reid. or Ian, as many persons would have called him over the years. To me, Ian was one of us. He was more than a boss. Our relationship developed beyond boss-employees relationship. What we developed is a friendship. We developed a bond. Ian isn't someone who was easy to say no. You ask him, and it's always the same. No problem, mate. What are you up to, mate? How you doing, mate? And you know what? He fitted right in with the Bahamian community, fitted right in with our culture, and he also understood us as a people. Ian has done so much for the Bahamas and also for the Bahamians, whom he have taken care of over the years. Whether it was someone who had an illness that he would finance the medical charges, or whether it was someone whose child is sick, he would finance those medical charges. And then he also adapted himself to the Bahamian word. You know, he liked to use the word junglers. He loved to call the Jamaicans yaddies. And he liked to call the white Bahamians Conky Joes. So he fit in with everything. Our relationship continued beyond Atlantis after Ian left. We hooked up on a regular basis, whether it was to have breakfast or whether it was to have lunch. Or we always communicated through the WhatsApp chat. You know, Ian is someone that I came to respect and love dearly. I know from a personal experience, he has done a lot for me over the years. He has done so much for me that it's unimaginable. It's not something that I actually go and talk about, but I know what he has done for me personally. I know what he has done for all of the persons who've worked for him, and he will sorely be missed. You know, we hooked up a few weeks ago, prior to him going to Florida, and then prior to him going home to Australia. And you know what? We got the sad news. We all cried, you know, but you know what? We all cherished the moment. He lived life. He lived it to the fullest. He enjoyed life, was full of laughter, full of fun, loved his girls. Need I say more? Loved his family. He was a family man and really loved his girls. You know, he always say, well, Kelsey says, I'm a Bahamian, Dad. I born here. I'm a Bahamian and an Australian. So that there tells you the type of person Ian was. You know, and we used to working late nights, whether it's on the budget, watching a football game, having the chefs prepare us those special meals like we always do at budget times. But Ian, we miss you. And I hope, and I know, and I pray that your soul will rest in peace. Peace out, buddy.
Debbie, Kelsey, Alyssa, all the Reids, Laura, Jeff and Allison and I are sending you our deepest sympathies for the loss of Ian. I can't imagine how hard this is for all of you, and I just want you to know that if we could be there, we'd love to just give you a big hug, but it's not those times. And so we're sending you a big virtual hug from around the world, to you especially, Lissy, being far away from your mom and your sister. But know that we love you and that you're deep in our thoughts. And we are comforted to have had such a long history with you and your family and with your dad, of course. It was September 1993 when I met Ian at the Sheraton Airport Hotel in Sydney. And quickly followed that your dad, Debbie, your husband, and you, Debbie, joined me in a move to San Diego. And that began our friendship that is now, 28 years later. And we're going to hang on to those memories because there was so much joy and so much happiness, so much fun, and just wonderful careers in the mix of it all. then went on to Phoenix together, different hotels, but more time in Phoenix. And then the same hotel briefly, and then your dad went off to Vegas, and I went off to other cities. And once again, the band got back together in the Bahamas. And we had another wonderful 8 years together, and lots of closeness in the years that followed. So my thoughts about Ian are, I'm so glad that he was in my life for that length of time, and I'm going to draw on all those beautiful memories, as I know you three will. Debbie, you and Ian built such a beautiful life together, and such a beautiful family, these two gorgeous sisters. And although everything is lost with Ian, everything is gained. And Lissy and Kelsey, your dad was amazing, and you know that already, and you'll draw on all your good memories. And the beautiful thing about all of us who were friends, we will have all of our memories as well. So, love to you all, big hugs, and we'll see you when it's safe to travel. And we'll be in your lives forever, so you can't get rid of us. Lots of love, lots of love. Bye for now.
It had an immediate positive effect on our operations and on our people and our entire food and beverage area. And then, hi Debbie, so sorry about Ian's passing. It's an indescribable loss for you and your family, and for us as his friends. I have so many fond memories of our time together, starting at Caesar's Palace when I hired him to be our food and beverage director, because we had so many issues there in food and beverage. And when he got there, he was immediately, it had an immediate positive effect on our operations and on our people and our entire food and beverage area. And then when I went to the Bahamas, to Atlantis, I found some of the same issues there, with food and beverage being a major component of our operations, but nevertheless it was a situation that wasn't the best, let's just put it that way. And I could think of no other individual that would be capable of handling that situation than Ian. And he did so much for the Bahamian people as well, and promoting them and promoting the Bahamian culture throughout our food and beverage operations. He just did an amazing job, tireless effort, from rebuilding the existing operations to building the amazing restaurants at the Marina Village, to building the Cove and the wonderful restaurants there, and his influence at the Ocean Club and Dune and all the operations. And it was just, he just did an amazing job. But most importantly, he was a great guy, somebody that I cherished working with, enjoyed working with, enjoyed talking with him. I think we were not only colleagues, but over the 10 years or 14 years actually, I think, that we worked together, we became very good friends. And
I met Ian J. Reid in the late fall of 2012. Like many of you, Ian was helping me out of a bind. I had just completed the manager training program at Atlantis. I needed to be placed, and there didn't seem to be any available opportunities for my skill set. Through our connection with Raquel, Ian was able to see in me potential, and so he brought me in as the marketing manager for food and beverage, managing over 40 restaurants and bars at Just 25. And throughout the course of my journey with him, working with Tim Moriarty, working with Nadia, Ian just saw me, and he created space for me to grow and to thrive. he knew that training was my passion, and so he allowed me to be a part of training the staff of our restaurants, but he also allowed me to work in the training department to lead orientation on Mondays. He gave me flexi work time, right? Long before COVID, long before that was a talk in the Atlantis community, Ian knew that it was important for me to be able to go and speak to schools and to go to National Flight Services board meetings, and so he made accommodation for me to thrive, to serve at Atlantis, but to serve in the community. And even when it was time for me to leave him and to go and start my own business, he let me go with a wonderful farewell and has never ever been out of touch. He's checked on me once a quarter since I left, and that was 2015. At least once a quarter, just to make sure that I was doing okay, just to affirm me, to remind me that there was greatness in me. Whenever I'd come to him as a mentor and ask for his guidance on a problem, he would always say, "And I know you're gonna make the right choice, Star. You're a good girl. You're a smart girl." And he just had this unwavering faith and belief in me and in my abilities and the things that I could do. And because I trusted him so much, because he taught me so much, he taught me so much about transparency and leadership, about stretch goals, about pacing myself. As my husband's company began to grow, I even brought my husband to him and I said to my husband, "No, Ian is the guy you need to talk to. He needs to tell you how to do this transparency thing and what you need to know." And it had always been my dream that whenever we did finally get an official board of directors, that he would sit on it. So it's an unfortunate time for me today to acknowledge that he's no longer here. But I am so grateful to have met him, to have had our paths crossed. Ian was a great man. He was a caring man. He was a kind man. And if he had it, he would give it to you. He would move mountains for you. He was a great mentor for me. He bought the cake for our wedding and made sure that we had the most fabulous day. He came and he sat in the crowded pews and he sang the songs and he sent me a message after to just say how beautiful it all was. And he just always gave constant support. In our last text message exchange, we were talking about him being in Australia, all that he was going through with the COVID protocols there. And I was just sharing some of the stuff that I was going through at the moment. And he ended the message by saying, "You're important too. I'm going to find you soon. Love you lots." And I just didn't think that would be the last time we spoke. But Ian, you'll find me soon. Love you lots. And thank you for always remembering that and reminding me that I'm important too. I'm gonna miss you. I'm Anastasia Palacios, and Ian Reid was my mentor.
Ian, I know you're not gonna be able to hear everything I say, but I hope a bit of it gets through to you. I'm really gonna miss you, my Aussie friend, the only person I could trash talk rugby with. It's a big loss for all of us, and it's been a long time we've worked together. May you rest in peace and know we'll never forget you. Debbie and the girls know you have the deepest condolences from Sarah and myself. Our thoughts are with you all. Big hugs.
Hello, I'm Alan Firstman, and what a great honor it is to talk about my friend Ian Reid. Ian and I worked together at the Phoenician Resort back in the mid-90s, and it was one of the happiest times of my career. And in the 40 years plus that I've been in the business, Ian was the absolute most fun person I've ever worked with. We had an amazing 4 years together, and a day didn't go by that Ian's sense of humor, passion for the food and beverage industry and what we were doing wasn't so evident. Ian had a magnetism about him that got people excited every day. Had a playfulness to him, and he was unabashed about many barriers that he would gleefully go to. Ian was as playful as they get, but really an inspiration to many. He mentored so many of the young managers at the Phoenician. He really was a role model for working your way up, knowing what teamwork's about, motivating others to perform at extraordinary levels, and someone that I was incredibly proud to call a friend. someone that was always there when you needed him, a teammate, someone that you would always want with you when you're going into battle. There's not a higher compliment you can give somebody than someone that something that Ian represents so well.
Hi there. This is Tom Cook. And first of all, my love and sympathy goes out to Debbie, the family, and all of you who may be there or may be seeing this. Alan and I spoke, and Alan was curious if I might have anything humorous that I could recall about Ian, which, of course, I did. And one of the best ones, in fact, I was going to text him this morning. It goes like this. Ian and I are sitting in his office one day, doing the important work that we did at the Phoenician, and his blinds are kind of drawn. My office area was just outside there, and we could see people going by, and one of them was one of my somewhat heavy-set admin assistants who liked to wear too tight and too short skirts. This one was kind of a checked pattern, which struck Ian, I think, because he turned and looked at me and said, "Oh, I reckon it looks like two pit bulls fighting in a potato sack." And we cracked up, as we so often did.
I am filled with emotions as I share this message at this particular time, but I thought it very important to say a few words about Ian J. Reid. Our relationship spans back over 15 years, and it has grown tremendously throughout the course of that period. I would like to say that Ian was a great person, a great father, a great leader, an amazing husband, an exceptional mentor, but more importantly to me, a great friend. I'm very sad as I share this message simply because I just felt like we had so much more things to talk about, and there were so many more conversations that I thought we would have been able to have. I'm going to miss the times that we spent early on a Friday morning having breakfast, sharing stories, talking about family, him listening to my journey from a professional perspective, but more importantly, just being able to connect with the guy I call the Reidster. Mr. Reid, I'm going to miss you very, very much. At this particular time, I would like to extend condolences to the Reid family, Miss Debbie Reid and her kids. I know this is an extremely tough time for you, but trust me, you will get through with it with the help of God. Continue to rely on him for support and strength. Ian J. Reid, sleep well. Rest eternally, my friend.
Hey, Deb, Lissa, Kelsey. I'm so sorry for your loss. This is Paul Burke. I had the pleasure of working with Ian for about 6 years down at Atlantis, and of course the news of Ian's passing was heartbreaking, and I hope you all are doing well. Such a terrific human being your husband, your father was. I feel very lucky to have made his acquaintance and worked together with him and been a part of the team together. Kind-hearted, compassionate, believed in people, generous, always had something kind to say for people, believed in people, believed people were good, and if they weren't good yet, he helped them get good. I'll miss his being, and when in life I see kindness and generosity and compassion and good humor and calmness, I'll be reminded of Ian. And Deb and Lissa and Kelsey, I'm so sorry for your loss. I loved being with your dad and your husband, and what a great guy. Deb, if there's ever anything I can do, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Much love to all of you, and my deepest sympathies and condolences for your loss. I'll keep you and Ian in my prayers. G'day, mate.
Hello, Deb, Liz and Kels, and everyone else who's easy to remember our Ian. My name's Robin Humphreys Reid, and I'm married to Ross. Ian is my brother. In 1979, I met two brothers, extraordinary young men, who looked uncannily alike. One of the brothers, Ross, became my husband and best male friend, and the other, Ian, became my brother-in-law and my second male best friend. On Sunday morning here in Australia, I lost my second best male friend. To say that Ian's passing has shattered me is an understatement. His presence in my life from the time I met my husband was huge. On our first date, Ross picked me up in this gorgeous dark blue Ford Falcon. As a young girl of 18, I was impressed to say the least. I even quite liked Ross, to be honest. So we agreed to a second date, and it was only after that Ross told me that the flashy car belonged to his brother Ian. I think we can safely say that Ross and I have Ian to thank for that second date and everything that followed. And what followed were many wonderful and precious times that Ross, our children, and myself spent with Ian and his family.
G'day, Debbie, Alyssa, Squirt, Kelsey. I can't begin to imagine, and I don't even want to try it, the pain and sense of loss the three of you are experiencing at the moment, as no doubt by measure everyone that's watching this is. But my heart is first and foremost goes out to you three. For those who don't know me, I'm Ross Reid, one of Ian's siblings. We are 5 in total, born to James Alfred Humphreys Reid, born himself in November 1927, and Marjorie Humphreys Reid nee Bird, born May 1925, a couple of years earlier. They were neighbours in a small inner city suburb of Wooloowin and grew up together in what was a very sleepy old town, Brisbane, back in those days. Anyway, they courted and married in 1951 and soon thereafter moved to Canberra to pursue Dad's commitment to the public service. He had no interest in private enterprise at all, and certainly no skills. So in 51 they packed up their goodies and headed off to Canberra. 51, 52 perhaps. Soon thereafter they commenced their family. The firstborn is the oldest, Donald. He was born in December 53. Then Ian in May 56. They threw a filly named Lindy. She was born in October 57. Myself, Ross, in July 59, and the youngest, Adam, in 63. We remained in Canberra for, 16, 17 years, I think it was. Yeah, it must have been, because we returned to Queensland in 69. We had a particularly, it was a very small world, Australia, in those days. Canberra probably only had a population of 50,000, and Mum and Dad were both full-time workers, held very senior positions. Dad was Chief of the Bureau of Census and Statistics, And Mum was the Prime Minister's personal assistant, one of whom she managed to lose, Harold Holt, which was pretty exciting. So we had a lot of freedoms that we abused, I guess, in many ways, got to all sorts of mischief and skullduggery. But we had a wonderful childhood, I always thought, both in Canberra and subsequently in Brisbane. My relationship with Ian was built mainly on our common interest in sport of all nature. I don't just mean in a passive sense, because apart from us, we didn't have television, so you couldn't just go to some streaming site and watch whatever you wanted. We'd go and play it. And happily, without being boastful, we were both excellent sportsmen. There wasn't a sport we couldn't play. We enjoyed representative honours in a number of sports and played for a great many years. Ian was probably far more finesse in his sport than me. I was just relied more on strength and basic skills, and that got me through. Probably our most preferred or favourite sport was Australian rugby, and Ian was destined to be a world beater, but unfortunately, just at that age where he could have kicked on, he was struck down with a terrible insult of cancer. And this is when he was about 23, I believe, from memory. And that really knocked the stuffing out of him. And because it had gone undetected for so long, his body was riddled with it and had to undergo multiple events of surgery. His fitness kept him alive in those days. His fitness at that time kept him alive, because I can recall the surgeon saying most people, even at his age, in general, health and fitness, they could keep open only for 3 or 4 hours. In Ian's case, because he never smoked or drunk and was super fit, they could keep him open for 7 hours. And the only thing I mean is that cut him straight down the middle there, rip him open, pull out all the organs. They had to do that a number of times. Now, if that's not enough, you then go through a course of chemo. We all know chemo to be a terrible disease, a terrible cure, a terrible treatment to endure. But 50 years ago, it was murderous. Ian had a particularly heavy platinum-based chemotherapy, 6 or 7 treatments. I used to collect him from the hospital after each, and after the first treatment, he was terribly ill. You could begin to see swelling in his face and loss of hair, of course. And then by the 6th or 7th, the final one, I couldn't recognise the front of his head from the back of his head. It was just one great big blob. It's got to be so, that's when he was at his best looking, but no, I'm only kidding. So he didn't have it all his own way. Indeed, at the worst of that treatment, the doctors had given up hope and in fact had offered the prognosis that he had a 10% chance of surviving the next 6 months, which of course we all know he'd survived well beyond that. I'm no doctor, and I don't think it would come as any surprise to anybody to believe that the illness and the horrible treatment he endured thereafter has caused Ian a great many health issues in later life, and ultimately, I can't help believe, but it brought about a premature death. I mean, Ian never, as I said already, never smoked, never drank. He would never, despite being a very good chef and in charge of some of the biggest tourist meccas around the world, you know, the Caesar's Palace and Atlantis and all this stuff, where he had access to the best foods in all the world. Ian was most happy with a bag of Marilla tubes or clinkers or licorice all sorts or chocolate coated licorice bits. So the only possibility, only lifestyle thing that might have contributed to Ian's ill health was his poor diet, but no, I don't think that matters. We've all eaten our measure of shit, and I'm still here to talk about it. Ian's was most surely a consequence of his horrible cancer and subsequent treatment. There are so many yarns and worth telling that racing through my head at the moment, but I'll resist doing that at this stage. Not because I think it inappropriate, but I'm not real good with this technology caper, and the file's probably going to be too big to transport anyway. So I give the young girls, my nieces, my darling nieces, Lissy and Kelsey, and Debbie for that matter, she's not my niece of course, the undertaking that I will do my best to record as many of these anecdotes and yarns and tall stories of our youth and get them to them, and I'm sure you won't believe them. It's from a different world, of course, you know, so much has changed in our own lifetimes, and it's changing ever more quickly by the day. But when you're just young kids, 5, 6, 7, 8, through to 15, 20 even, in Australia, 50, 60 years ago, it was a different world. So I won't go into those now. I would like to have been able to spend a bit more time to brighten up this memorial, but I'll conclude by saying that Ian has always been my best mate, and I believe I've always been his. There was no bullshit between us. We loved each other. There's nothing we wouldn't do for each other, and have had cause to do things for each other. I'm going to miss him incredibly. So lucky that he made a trip to Australia quite recently, as you all are aware, and got to spend some nice relaxed quality time with him. And so too was Lissy when a week later or so when she returned from Alice Springs, from where she works. But there will always be an enormous hole in our lives. Ian was the most generous and giving person. He was cunning as a shithouse rat, of course, but in even knowing that he was still too good, too cunning for me to be able to overwhelm or defeat his cunningness anticipated. He could write a book on it, the level of cunningness. But that was his part of who Ian was. Look, I'll wind it up there and just say again, Debbie and girls, you had a wonderful husband and father, better than most people in the world have ever had. And you have certainly myself, and I've got to work this out. Fuck me, which hand points? Oh, there it is. This one over here, Robin, in your corner, and there's nothing at all we wouldn't do to now and into the future to assist your passage through life. So with that, I just want to say, nice to meet you all. Hope to catch up with you soon, Deb, and the girls, and valet Ian. Love you, mate. Bye-bye.
He was and what he did for all of us. And I don't know what else to say except we love you and thank you all for coming. And Ian, you deserve the rest. Thank you.